Hello everyone, welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Sri Gyanmanjari Vidyapeeth for the students of class 9. Once again, good to see you in today's English literature lecture for semester 1. Students, in the past few lectures, we have dealt with two prose chapters. The fun they had was the first one, and the second one, that is the sound of music, which had two parts in it. We learnt about the two musical maestros, Evelyn Glennie and Bismillah Khan, the Shehnai Vadak. So once again, we are going to start a new chapter today. In today's lecture, we'll be initiating a new chapter, commencing a new chapter for ourselves and understanding about it. The third chapter given to us in our text is titled or named as The Little Girl. It is a wonderful story written by Catherine Mansfield. This is a wonderful story about parenting, about understanding parents, knowing more about them, and changing one's opinion about parents. So it's going to be a very useful, a very fun-loving, and a good story for all of us to understand. And I hope you enjoy this story. Well, let us now know something more about Catherine Mansfield before we put our hands on the literature, on the text that we are going to read, infer, understand, evaluate, and learn something more about it. It's important to know about the person who has written this story. It's a very important thing. Whenever you start a story, one needs to know about the author in details. So here is the picture, the image of Catherine Mansfield being displayed to you on this board over here. So have a careful look of this image and try to register this in your mind. So next time, whenever you see this picture, immediately you will be able to identify who the person is. So she is Catherine Mansfield. Remember this name? Let us see something more about Catherine Mansfield, about the author. Let us know our author in a bit of details. So here are some details about Catherine Mansfield. As you see, she was born on 14th October 1888. You can see over here. She was born on 14th October 1888. And she was born in Wellington, New Zealand. The place is also been mentioned over here along with the birth year. The second information that you see is about till how long she lived. Well, she didn't live for a very long time. She lived for a very short period of time. So it is something sad to understand about a great author, that living too short span of life. So she died in 9th January 1923 at the age of 34 in France. So she was born in New Zealand, but she died in France. Further, another piece of information that we have to acknowledge and understand is pen name. Many authors, writers, poets have a different name from their first name or the original name by which they are known in this world. So that is called a pen name. So here we have a pen name for Kathleen Mansfield, where her name was Kathleen, and after that the pen name that was used by her to write was Catherine Mansfield. And as a nationality, where she was born, or she was a uh, uh, belong to New Zealand. So this is a bit of the information that we tried to gather about Catherine Mansfield. I hope this is very useful to you and you will try to remember this thing. So next time, whenever you read something written by Catherine Mansfield, it will be helpful to you. Well, let us move us ahead and try to find out our basic and general learning objectives. So we have learned two prose chapters earlier, and we've learned the grammar about those chapters. So today I will give you a general learning objectives. Why do we learn these things? That is the prose and poem. So I have a few general learning objectives that help students to enable themselves to read English properly. The basic thing why we read from the text is to enhance, to enrich our reading skills, our soft skills of reading. So that is one of the purpose. One of the purposes we read from the text. We have textbooks to read from. So that is the very first thing. Secondly, you can see to enable the students to comprehend the English language properly. Now, comprehend means what? To understand after reading. You are able to comprehend that. You are able to understand what you are reading. So you are able to extract answers when questions are asked from that. Therefore, we say comprehend. So to enable students to comprehend the English language properly. You've read something, but you need to understand what you have read. Therefore, we call this as comprehend. You have got exercises and activities in your exam test papers, isn't it? Comprehension, where you've been given a paragraph. You read the paragraph. It could be a seen paragraph. It could be an unseen paragraph. So when you keep practicing, when you keep reading properly, the English literature, the text, the material, the content given to you, and then when you do the practice of comprehension, extracting answers, extracting answers about the questions that are asked to you, we say it is comprehension or to comprehend something. Therefore, the second objective of reading English or reading language is to comprehend what you have read. The third thing, to enable the pupils to write and speak English clearly. Now that is one of the most fundamental and the clear objective that one needs to set for oneself, isn't it? When you read English, when you learn English, when you acquire the knowledge of English, the end thing is that you should be able to speak clearly, correctly, properly, isn't it? That's the goal. That's the final thing that you learn. Merely taking bookish knowledge is not enough. After reading from the text, after comprehending it, you should be able to make use of the language in day-to-day life for speaking, for your conversation purpose. And for that, you need to speak clearly, understand clearly what you are saying and speaking. So, people should be able to write and speak clearly in English is the main objective of learning these different chapters, isn't it? Because each chapter or the chapters that we learn are of different genres. Now, as I've already explained earlier, what is genres? Different types of lessons you have. Some lesson is a poem, some lesson is a biography, some lesson is an actual story, some lesson is a real story, some could be a tale, isn't it? Something could be a fictitious one, something could be related to war, something could be related to a moral giving story. So we have got different genres of English literature. Well, the last objective, to enable the students to obtain good grades in the FAs, essays as a whole, isn't it? That is also one of our goals and objectives that we need to understand. That after having understood, after having learned from the text, having read the text, we should be able to score well. That is also one of the important objectives of learning English as students of class 9. Once you've understood a topic, once you understood the chapter, it's important for you to score also, isn't it? That is also one of the criterias of learning the language. Well, let us move further and see the next thing. I have some specific objectives also for this particular chapter, the chapter that we're going to learn, the little girl. So, the special objective of teaching this lesson to you is to educate you people out there the universal intention of parents, that the parents are well-wishers though they are looking strict, isn't it? A beautiful thing to understand over here, something that you need to mature enough to understand. You have to grow up to that level, because this is what the chapter is all about, the little girl that we are going to understand. So this is a specific objective that we are going to set for ourselves. Once we have gone through the summary of the chapter, once we have read the chapter bit by bit, part by part, isn't it? We need to grow up to this level of understanding. That is the objective of this chapter, the specific objective, as you can see over there, isn't it? The parents are well-wishers though they are looking strict. Many times you find your parents very strict, very harsh with you, and you develop a wrong notion in your mind that my parents, my mother, my father, particularly fathers, he or she are very strict with us. They are not good. You try comparison between other parents, your friend's father or mother, isn't it? So that should not be the case. So this lesson will help us to open up our mind and understand and grow up to that level. So I hope you will be able to cater and inculcate in yourself this particular objective, that parents are the best well-wishers for their children. Well, let us move further and understand the theme of the story that we're going to understand. A beautiful story by Catherine Mansfield. Well, what is the basic theme? Let me try to give you not an overview, but a bit of an idea about it. The title of the story refers to the main character we will come across in the story, the little girl. As the title itself tells us, the little girl. So here is a story not about a big girl. She is a very little girl, say a girl of around 4 years, 5 years, at the most 6 years. Therefore, the title is very apt given by Catherine Mansfield, the little girl. And who is this little girl around which the entire story is woven? The entire story is getting developed, and the character, which is the main character of the story, is mentioned over here. Kezia. Kezia is the character around which the entire story is getting built up. Well, what is the story? We'll come to know in a while, and we will understand the summary, and further we will be understanding the paragraph, the stanzas too. Well, the theme of the story is the relationship between children and their parents. So the entire story that we are going to read, infer, evaluate, understand is about the bonding between children and their parents. Just like you have bonding with your parents, your father, mother, and the other members in your family, isn't it? So basically the story is about knowing parents well, particularly at this age. Well, when you were too young, say you were 1 year old, 2 year old, 3 years old, you had a different view about your parents. But as you keep growing, the bond between you and your parents, particularly the fathers, is a unique one. Sometimes it could be having some sour memories also. Sometimes you have sweet memories also. Sometimes you have bitter memories also. Isn't it? With the passage of time, these memories get registered and developed in your mind. So the theme is about the relationship between children and their parents is going to be the central idea or the theme of the entire story. And this relationship, whether good or bad, well, I'm not disclosing the story right now, good or bad, that is with the parents of Kezia, is going to be understood by us in this lecture, in this story, the little girl. Further, the writer wants to tell us that children share a very important bond of love with their parents, isn't it? You love your parents a lot. There is nothing more in this world that you love besides your parents. For anything you see in this world, are you going to keep materialistic things above your parents? No, naturally not. In general terms, if I say, for everyone, me, you out there, parents are your entire world. Because everything you see, you understand in this world goes through your parents, isn't it? You can't even imagine a moment without your parents. It's a different thing. You come to school, but finally what happens when school is over? You go back to your house, and the first thing you see, you want your mother's warm affection, love, care from your parents, attention from your parents, isn't it? Sometimes when they are not able to give you attention, you become frustrated. You become tensed. So parents are a very important gift given to us. The most important gift, I would say, given to us. That is what the writer wants to tell us and share with the children, that a very important bond of love with their parents is going to be understood by us in this chapter. Well, let us move further and see. A parent and a child have the strongest bonds in the world. And a child sees his parents all the time when he is growing up. And this story, the little girl, precisely depicts this relation, isn't it? It's very truly said over here. A parent and a child have a great bond between themselves, isn't it? They are bound with each other. So you share a strong relationship with your parents, just as I share with my parents. And moreover, when you are young, you are too small, when you are an infant, when you are in the cradle, and from that stage to what stage you are right now, you have been seeing your parents, isn't it? You have been viewing your parents, you've been seeing your parents. You have grown along with your parents, just as you grew. They also grew from their very young age to their middle ages. So a child sees his parents all the time when he is growing up. And this story precisely depicts this particular relationship. So we are going to understand and enjoy this story and try to find out and try to figure out somewhere in our life. We're going to associate the story with our life. Moreover, you see the different types of people that you'll be seeing in this story, the relationship with with this character in the story, because there are more than two characters, isn't it? Kezia, father, mother. We have another character, grandmother too, in this story. So we are going to understand the different types of people that we will come across as we read and proceed with the reading of this story. Well, so this was the theme that I just tried to share with you about the story, The Little Girl. Let us move ahead and try to get the summary of the story. Because whenever we read a story, whenever we read a chapter, it's good to have a summary just before that, so that it becomes easy for us to understand what is hidden inside it. Because when we read the story, we will come across a number of new words, vocabularies that we will be discussing gradually, bit by bit. But before this, putting hands on a summary will always help us to understand what the story is about. So let us see the summary. Here goes the summary. Kezia was a little girl. Little girl, as I just said, around 6 years, 5 years, 6 years girl. So she was a little girl and she feared her father. Now, it is a strange sentence, isn't it? She feared her father. Do we fear our fathers? Yes, sometimes when they are strict, isn't it? Or when we've done something wrong, we are scared of our father, particularly, though we are scared of mother, father, both, any a time. But particularly when you've done something wrong, a wrongdoing makes us scared of father. So here, this little girl was very afraid in an unusual manner. That is what we're going to understand. So she feared her father. She thought that her father was like a giant. So that was the image that was created in Kezia's mind for her father. But it's really strange as we are reading this summary, isn't it? How could a girl, how could a child find one's father like a giant? But here it is true. The girl was able to understand and see that her father was a giant. Well, she found her father to have big hand and a big neck. So that is how she found her father. So a description given to us, his mouth was also very big. That is what she was visualizing her father as. And therefore, considering her father as a giant, what happened? She used to avoid her father. She didn't want it to be present when the father was at home. She thought that her father was very cruel to her. Kezia's father actually worked in an office, and he went to an office and worked over there in the morning, and before going to office, he went to the little girl's room, gave her a casual kiss, as just like when our parents leave for office or work, what happens? Right now, when you are having online lectures and you are at home, not coming to school, naturally, when your father goes to work, he must be bidding you goodbye, isn't it? Saying goodbye and going to you. So what happens? He naturally pampers you, tries to give you a kiss, make you feel warm enough, isn't it? So similarly, Kezia's father also, when he used to go to work, he used to give her a kiss and leave for office. Now, what used to happen? The girl who looked her father as a giant was very, very relaxed. Now, that's really strange, isn't it? When fathers come back home, we are happy. We're happy to see our parents back home. If they are working people, we wait for them in the evening, particularly when father is back home. But here the girl was afraid of his father in an unusual manner, because she found her father to be a giant, a monstrous figure, a figure who was not liked by her. Therefore, when father used to leave home for going to office, she used to feel very, very relaxed. Well, he gave her a casual kiss, and the father went to the office in a carriage, and she felt very happy when the father had gone. So when the father had gone away, the girl felt very happy. Now this sounds very, very strange, but that's true in the story. Let's see further. In the evening, the girl's father came back. He spoke loudly in the house. So, what happened once when the father had returned from home, returned from the office, returned home back? He happened to speak to the child in a very loud, shouting, and in a very fearful manner, in a fearful thing. And the girl was very, very scared of his father. Well, Kezia feared her father's loud voice, and her mother would ask her not to go and take, and her mother would ask her to go and take off his shoes. Now, in addition to that, what happened? The mother was also very strict. In one way, the father used to shout at the girl when he used to come back. But in addition to that, the mother was also very strict, and what she used to instruct the girl to go and take off father's shoes, offer her some tea, coffee, snacks. And this is how the mother was also a bit strict with the girl. So both the parents of Kezia were very strict with Kezia, and that is how the child felt. So when she entered the room, she looked at hers, thought that her father was a hard-hearted person, and that is how the character Kezia used to find her parents. She thought that her parents were very, very hard-hearted. They were not soft spoken to her. They did not love her. So this kind of a notion was developed in the mind and the understanding of Kezia in an unusual way. Well, that may not be true, but they may be looking hard from the top or from the from above, but internally they may be having love for their child. Well, let us see further what happened. You can see just a simple image I've tried to show over here. Kezia with her toy over here and the father shouting at her. Now, if you happen to see this kind of a view every day or even once, what happens? For that particular day or for that particular time, or if it is the usual behavior, what happens? The child will get scared. He or she will develop, the child will develop a hard feelings for the parents. Well, this should not happen. But this was true in this story that was happening. Well, one day Kezia made a pin cushion. She wanted to present it to her father on his birthday. Now, how does the story go on? Well, father was already strict with the girl. But one day, what happened? It was the father's birthday coming up. And the girl thought that let me make a pin cushion for my father. I will try to display the image of a pin cushion, a round pin cushion, so you get an idea. A cushion with something stuffed inside it, some kind of a cotton or some kind of a fiber stuffed inside it, a fabric stuffed inside it, so that you can put a pin inside it and keep it over there. So that's called a pin cushion. That is a thing that you make in a handmade way, or you get it in ready-made way. So one day Kezia made a pin cushion and she wanted to present it to her father on his birthday. That was the thought of this girl. She wanted to show her love and affection towards her father and wanted to greet her father her birthday in a very different manner, in a unique manner. She wanted to make a self-made gift for her, handmade gift for her, a customized one. Therefore, what happened? She stitched the entire cushion. The cloth was stitched by her. But naturally, after having stitched, you require something to fill inside it. So she needed paper to stuff the pin cushion, and she found some sheets of paper in her father's room. She tore the sheets to stuff the pin cushion. Her father had written an important speech on them. Unfortunately, the papers that she tore and put inside the cushion were some important papers. And when the father realized these things, naturally, who was already strict with the girl and happened to know that the girl had done such a thing, well, unknowingly she did it. She didn't do it in a deliberate manner or in purpose. No, but unknowingly, in a very innocent manner, she happened to tear that paper, those papers. Now, that papers were not something common papers. They were the papers of an important speech that the father was supposed to read out or give at a place. So her father had written an important speech on them, and that speech was actually now torn by the girl into pieces and stuffed inside the cushion. Now imagine how angry Kezia's father would be. He would be black and blue. He would beat her black and blue, isn't it? So he was very angry with her. He took a stick and beat her severely. Now that's something really, really pathetic, isn't it? Well, that was the nature of Kezia's father. But what should we do in that? Well, he told her not to touch anything that did not belong to her. So a strict instruction was given after this incident that you are not supposed to touch anything. She is a member of the family, isn't it? She can touch things. But yes, she was just a little girl. Girl does not know the importance of a speech. Now, I would say over here, the father should have kept the thing in a safe place. Well, and to the extent that she did not do it in a deliberate manner. So unknowingly she had done it. Father should have tackled the matter in a better way, in an easier manner. Well, that is what the father did not do. He told her not to touch anything that did not belong to her. Kezia wept bitterly. The child kept on crying in a very bitter manner. She kept on profusely. She wondered why God made fathers. Now, what happened because of this incident? Something came to the mind of Kezia. And what is she thinking? Why did God made fathers? She is developing a wrong notion in her mind. She is getting a wrong image. Kezia's father is setting a wrong example for her child. Now the child is feeling, why did God create fathers at all? What's the need of fathers? Now see, it's a very difficult question to answer. Well, now she trembled even at the sight of father. Now after this event, the moment she used to see her father, the girl used to tremble, shiver with fear and become very, very scared. You see, this should not be the behavior of a father towards her child, girl, boy, whatever it is. So this is how we are going to learn gradually, isn't it? And at the same time, I would say, children should also try to understand their parents. Well, further let us see what is the next. One day, Kezia saw her neighbor, Mr. MacDonald. He was playing with his children and they all looked very happy. Now, Kezia had already developed this notion in her mind that her father was a giant, and merely at his sight she used to tremble now, particularly after the incident. But later on, when Kezia happened to see her neighbor, Mr. MacDonald, he was playing with his children, and they all were very happy. But Kezia's father never played with her. So she started comparison that my father never plays with me, just like Mr. MacDonald plays with her children, his children. Why doesn't my father play with me? Why doesn't he give me time? So this kind of thoughts come to the mind of Kezia. Well, to that, let us see. Now, she thought that there were different kinds of fathers in the world and her own father was very cruel. So she happened to make even more worst imaginations about her father. So you see, she happened to get an understanding that Mr. MacDonald can play with his children. He can spend time. Why can't my father spend time with me? So my father is a very cruel one. He beats me, he scolds me, he does not understand me. And this kind of things happen to develop in the mind of the girl over here, that is Kezia, about whom the entire story is woven about. You can see the image over here. Mr. MacDonald playing with his 5 children over here. Well, let us move ahead and see. After a few days, what happens? Kezia's mother becomes severely ill. So Kezia's mother needs to be hospitalized. That much ill she became. And her grandmother took her to the hospital. Now, there was one person in the house who used to understand Kezia, and that was none else but the grandmother. Well, usually what happened, grandparents try to understand their grandchildren a lot, isn't it? If you have grandmother, grandfather in your house, they will be able to understand you even much better, isn't it? No doubt parents do understand us. But because you spend more time with your grandparents, they have the leisure time, they have the spare time to spend with you. So they understand their grandchildren, the granddaughter, grandsons very, very well. So here, what happened? After a few days, Kezia's mother became very ill and she had to be hospitalized. Kezia was alone in the house with the nurse. So there was someone to attend in the house, the nurse. But the problem was Kezia's father, isn't it? He would be returning home and she would be scared. Now, mother was not there, grandmother was not there. Who could give her a little comfort? Well, she had to sleep alone in her bedroom. At night, she had a horrible dream and she saw that there was a butcher with a knife. So what nightmare she had? She saw that a butcher was standing in front of her. Probably the butcher would be slaughtering her. Some this kind of a nightmare came to her, a dream came to her. That is a very awful dream, isn't it? And the child actually wakes up. Kezia actually wakes up. She was terrified. She was very, very afraid. She was terrified with this dream. And she gave a loud cry. Naturally, someone would cry. She was terrified and she gave a loud cry. To this, naturally, grandmother would be coming. But this time, grandmother was not in house. She was in the hospital, assisting mother because she was ill. To this, what happened? Her father came into her room. He lifted her and took her to his own bed. She lay beside her father. This is the first time. This is the first time ever father is picking up her little girl, her daughter, comforting her. So far what we saw, that the father was always scolding, always having a rude behavior to us. It does not mean, maybe the father was in a number of difficulties, number of tensions in his work, so he was not able to give time, although he should be giving time to her child, to her girl, to her little daughter, isn't it? But maybe due to these reasons he was not able. But in this situation, when the girl was alone, she had a nightmare. She was frightened, happening to see a butcher standing in front of her in the dreams. What happens when she cried aloud in her dreams? What did she find? She found her very own father, whom she considered to be very, very cruel, like a giant, standing beside her bed. And to the extent, he took the girl to her room, and this is the first time she lay beside her father. And she tried to understand her father. Well, he was tired and fell asleep before her. He was lost in the thoughts. She thought that he had to work hard every day. So this is the time when she is able to realize, able to see that her father is so tired because of the toil he did, the hard work that he has been doing throughout the day. Immediately the father goes to sleep, isn't it? Keeping the child beside. But at least Kezia was now comforted that someone is there beside. And not only anybody else, but it was her own father who was now comforting her. He came in the evening, then he was too tired to play with her. So now she understood that when the father used to come in the evening, he was too tired. She had made a comparison with Mr. McDonald playing with his children, that why is my father not playing with me? He's very cruel. So now she was able to understand that her father becomes very tired due to the hard work he does to earn the bread and butter, to make a livelihood for the people in his house, for the people living, for the family. Well, she thought that it was her fault to tear those important papers. Now the girl herself realizes the two important things, that she had a wrong notion in her mind, that her father was cruel, her father was a giant. She happened to realize now. So you see, gradually things are getting better. The girl realizes her mistake, the fault, that she should have read the paper. She should have asked her father, can I take these papers? Because she must have taken it from the father's room, from the desk. Or she should have at least asked someone. She should have read that before tearing it down. It could be important. She should have given this thought. So now she realizes her fault. And the second thing that she understood, that father was getting very tired. So maybe he was not able to give time to her and play with her. Well, she realized that her father was not bad. He had a big and loving heart. So you see, despite of being tired, he woke up, he came to the child to her room and comforted her from his sleep. So this is how the child Kezia changes her complete understanding, the wrong understanding that she had developed in her mind towards her father. Well, this was the brief summary that I tried to share with you. Let us now move further and see the next thing, that is the understanding of the story that we are going to read in a from a this thing, bit by bit, stanza wise we will read today. Well, So here is the story, as you can see. The Little Girl, written by Catherine Mansfield. Well, let us do a before you read section to understand, and then we will read bit by bit. Do you feel you know your parents better now than when you were much younger? It's an important question to be answered. A very important question to be answered. So, do you think at this stage now, when you are in class 9, you're of the age, say around 14 years old, 13, 14 years old, isn't it? Some of you may be 15 also, maybe. So, do you think that you know your parents better now in comparison to when you were younger? You understood, isn't it? Well, probably your answer should be yes, because you were only getting the goodnesses from your parents. You were not able to understand the hardships that your parents were facing to raise you people, isn't it? So you were not able to understand those things. But as you grow up, you get involved into the activities, the actions, the work that your father does. You come to know how difficult it is to earn bread and butter in this struggling world, isn't it? So, or what sort of hardships your parents face to raise you, or how much care and love they give to you. So, it is well understood by us that we know our parents, or you know your parents at this particular age better than what you used to know your parents, because you've grown up with them, isn't it? Perhaps you now understand the reasons for some of their actions that used to upset you earlier. You may be becoming upset for some of their actions when they used to scold you, when they didn't used to provide you some things, when they took decisions on your behalf, isn't it? When they refused things to you, you used to get angry, you used to get frustrated. Why is my father or mother refusing these things when somebody else's, my friend's father or mother is allowing them to do these things? So there will be different reasons. So they were able to think the good of you at all given point of time. Well, so you will be able to understand this better now. This story, as we just understood in the summary, is about a little girl whose feelings for her father change from fear to understanding. See, two important words: fear to understanding. Kezia was fearful of her father, but later on, when the story comes to end, she starts understanding her father well. Well, we will probably find an echo in every home. So this is going to be something that you're learning for every home. This stands true. This fits to every home. That is what I believe. Well, without further ado, let us go through the lines of the paragraph and try to understand each of them in detail. So I hope you're able to see the things very, very clearly. I'll try to just make it a bit. Well, let us read and understand. To the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. See the words, to the little girl. Here the little girl, what we are talking about is Kezia. To Kezia, he. Now who is this he over here? When you're talking about this he over here. So this he is none else but the father. Kezia's father, who was a figure to be feared and avoided. Now the words figure to be feared is a phrase. If you very well acknowledge this, figure to be feared is a phrase. The meaning has been given to you. A figure to be feared means a person to be feared, isn't it? So here Kezia's father was someone, a person whom she feared. So a figure to be feared and avoided. So she avoided her very own father. Every morning before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss, to which she responded with, "Goodbye, father." The only thing the girl did when the father used to kiss was just to say, "Goodbye, father." Well, usually what happens, father's going to office, you have a number of things to say, isn't it? When you return in the evening, bring me these things, bring me those things. When will you return back home? And sometimes you interact like this with your parents, with your father particularly. But here, the girl was so afraid, the figure was so frightful, so fearful to her, that she said only one thing when the father used to kiss her and leave for office. She just used to bid goodbye by saying, "Goodbye, father," and nothing else. And oh, there was a glad sense of relief. Have a careful look at this phrase, glad sense of relief. It's a phrase over here, glad sense of relief. So, glad sense of relief in the sense she was cheerful in her heart. when she was viewing, when she was experiencing, when she was seeing her father leave the house and go to the office, she was very, very happy. Glad means happy. She had a glad sense of relief. She had a mental peace in her mind. Her mind used to become very, very relaxed. The mind used to come in a relaxed state. Oh, my father is going to office now. Now I am relaxed. That was the gesture, that was the way she used to behave. So that was the kind of feeling in the heart of Kezia. Further, we'll read and understand. When she heard the noise of carriage growing fainter and fainter down the long road. So, how did Kezia's father used to travel to office? In a carriage, probably a horse carriage. So, when Kezia's father used to go towards the office, as the sound of the moving of the carriage became fainter and fainter, isn't it? When the carriage standing at your door is going towards another destination, what happens? The moving of the wheels and all those things become fainter and fainter. The sound becomes lower, isn't it? So when she used to hear the sound lowering down, she used to get a relaxation in her heart. Her heart used to become so glad, so happy. Her mind used to be relaxed. Finally, father has left home, and I don't have to worry till evening. So she was completely relaxed. Well, similarly, in the evening, when it was time for father to come back, the opposite feelings came to her heart, isn't it? So in the evening, when he came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall. So she used to stand over there and try to hear the loud noise in the hall over there. Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? So these were the words Kezia's father used to say, but in a very loud and shouting manner. So that was the behavior of Kezia's father. So that is not an acceptable one. Well, so in the evening, when Kezia's father was back home, he used to shout and say these words and ask for tea, ask for paper. Mother, go and see if my paper's out there and bring me my slippers. So what happened? Kezia's father used to tell his mother, that is Kezia's grandmother. So you see, it's not a proper behavior to talk to your parents like that. But this was the behavior of Kezia's father, isn't? Kezia's father used to even tell his mother, that is Kezia's grandmother, mother, go and see if my paper's out there and bring me my slippers. So in a very rude manner, he used to ask for things. Naturally, when the father is back home tired, he expects some kind of service from children, from mother, from wife, isn't it? But that is not the way to ask things. You got to be a little polite. You need to try to find out the day's activities, try to gather people, isn't it? That is how it happens. But here the father is, but that is also maybe because of his tiredness, because of his tensions that he has brought back home from the office. Possibly this could be the reason why he is behaving like this. So people should try and understand one another, children to the parents, parents to the children. But this is what we are reading about, the behavior of Kezia's father. Let us read further the next stanza. Kezia's mother would call to her. So mother used to shout to Kezia, Kezia. Mother would call to her. If you are a good girl, you can come down and take off father's boots. Now see, father wanted someone to come and take off the shoes. That is what father was expecting, and I'm very tired. I want someone to take off my shoes. I can't undo my shoes. Isn't it? So mother used to shout at Kezia, give her command that if you are a good girl, come downstairs. Maybe she was in the upstairs in her room. So mother used to give instruction to Kezia, come down if you are a good girl and take off father's boots if you are a good one. Well, that is how she used to talk to her. Further, slowly the girl would slip down the stairs, more slowly, still across the hall, and push open the drawing room door. You see, we have got the phrase given to us. Slip down, come down quietly and unwillingly. Slip down has got a special meaning. Come down very, very slowly, gradually, but in an unwilling manner. We know why it is unwilling, isn't it? Because the father had a rude behavior. So Kezia's mother would ask her to come down, and slowly the girl would slip down the stairs, more slowly, still across the hall, and then she would open the door to the room and come inside the room and try to perform the activity or to take off. By that time, he had his spectacles on and looked at over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. And meanwhile, what did the father used to do? He used to look over his spectacles. Sometimes we lower down the spectacles and try to look, isn't it? So look over his spectacles in a very terrifying manner, in such a manner that the child feels scared. So that is how the father used to look at the daughter. Well, well, Kezia, hurry up and pull off these boots and take them outside. Have you been a good girl today? See, father is asking the girl, trying to know him from the daughter, but not in a polite manner, in a very harsh manner. So these kinds of feelings were developed in Kezia. Well, Kezia, hurry up. So father is trying to make the girl hurry up because she had that fear in the heart. She was reluctant to come closer to the father or be in the presence of the father over there. So, in a very hesitating manner, in a very reluctant manner, the girl used to come and do the work that was assigned to her by mother to pull off the boots that were on father's legs. And further, the father asked a question, have you been a good girl today? And in addition to that, father is asking, trying to find out from the girl that, have you been a good girl today? Did you do any mischief today at home? Is there any complaint about you? Not directly, that's too rude to ask, isn't it? Gradually you try to find out, even if the child has done something. But Kezia's father did not have that kind of a behavior towards her daughter. Gradually, very straightforward, he used to tell her and ask her, have you been a good girl today? Well, the child was very afraid, and she happened to say the answer, happened to reply, I don't know, father. That is how she replied, I don't know, father. So she was in a way shuddering or stammering. She was not getting the words. She was unable to speak due to the fear in her heart. She was so fearful that she was not able to speak at all. She was not able to understand anything. Well, let us move further. You don't know. If you stutter like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor. You see what kind of a reply father is giving? That if you answer my question, that were you a good girl or not, in this manner, by saying that don't know, then maybe there is a problem with your speaking. So mother will have to take you to the doctor. Well, naturally, the child is afraid. She was speaking like this. Father shouldn't have done like this. But this is what the father replied to her daughter in this manner. Well, let us further see. We have the word given to us about stutter. Stutter means to stammer in a way or not able to speak properly. The correct words or the words come in bits and parts. You break up the words. That's called stutter or stammering. So that is a new word for you to acknowledge. Stutter, stammer. Next, she never stuttered with other people. No, this was not a disease or something that she used to do in a routine manner. It was only in the presence of the father. When the father was present, she was stuttering because she was afraid of her father because of his behavior. Well, she never stuttered with other people, had quite given it up, but only with father, because then she was trying so hard to say the words properly. What's the matter? What are you looking so wretched about? Now you have another word over here, wretched. Have a careful look. Wretched, and the meaning is given to you. Wretched is unhappy. And you have another phrase also, given it up. Stopped doing it. Something that you've stopped doing is called given it up. So, what are you looking so wretched about? What are you unhappy about? Now father is trying to ask, why are you looking so unhappy? Father is wanting to know what's happened, what's wrong with you, why are you unhappy? Mother, I wish you taught this child not to appear on the brink of suicide. Now what is the father saying? To his mother that I wish you taught this child not to appear on the brink of suicide. See how harsh words he is using, on the brink of suicide, on the verge of suicide, as if someone is tired of life and going to commit suicide. That is what the harsh words used by father. Mother, I wish you taught this child not to appear on the brink. Brink means the edge of suicide. As if someone is going to suicide. That is how she is appearing. That is how she is looking and behaving in front of me. So, that is what the father said. Well, here, Kezia, carry my teacup back to the table carefully. Here. So again, father commanded to Kezia, carry my teacup back to the table carefully. He was so big, his hands and his neck, especially his mouth, when he yawned. Thinking about him alone was like thinking about a giant. So when the father used to yawn, when he used to use his hands, he had big hands, a big neck, a big mouth to yawn. The child used to be afraid of the figure that she used to see. Well, thinking about him was like thinking about a giant. That is what the girl thought about his father. Well, let us read further and try to understand more about it. The next passage. On Sunday afternoons, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. So what did grandmother do? She sent the girl Kezia on Sunday that go and spend some time with your parents, your mother and father. Because grandmother was understanding these things. After all, she is an experienced old lady, isn't it? She knew what was going wrong in the house. She was having the idea about the behavior of her son, the way the son was behaving with her daughter. So she wanted the child to spend time so that she could have a bonding with the parents. Therefore, grandmother asked Kezia to go to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. But the girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa, his handkerchief on his face, his feet on one of the best cushions, sleeping soundly and snoring. This is what the child got to know. A message was getting into the child's mind. So whenever she approached her parents, whenever she went to them to have a chat with them, to talk with them, what did she find? That the mother was busy reading something. She did not have time for her own daughter. Isn't it? This gives a wrong message to the child. Parents should find time for their children. But here in the story we see what was happening. Mother was not able to interact, give time to her daughter. That is what Kezia was viewing and understanding. Mother was always busy reading. And father used to stretch out on the sofa with his handkerchief on his face, his feet on one of the best cushions. You see, one of the best cushions. Well, you happen to dirty the cushion. I don't think so it's a good habit to keep your feet unless it is a very good one, isn't it? It's washed. So even if it is washed, it is clean one. You happen to sleep on that cushion. You happen to put your head. Someone else may use the cushion. Someone else may use to sit over there. So it may not be a good idea to keep your feet on the cushion, isn't it? So what did Kezia see? What did she view? What did she observe over here when she came to the drawing room? That mother was busy reading something. Father was busy sleeping over here and putting the cushion and sleeping soundly and snoring. Now, how could Kezia take up the guts or take up the valor to wake her father and ask her that spend time with me, talk to me, give me some time, play with me? She was very, very scared. Similarly, she was scared of mother as well. So, particularly, she was afraid of her father, as we understood so far in the story. You can see the image over here that is being shown to you. When the girl enters the drawing room, she is able to see that father is lying down on the couch over on the sofa over here with the legs on one of the best cushions, snoring over there with handkerchief on the face, and mother reading. So nobody was sparing time for Kezia to know how she was, what was she doing. On the contrary, the rude behavior or the strictness that the parents were showing. If I just change my words, they were having a very strict behavior towards their child. Well, let us move further and see the next thing. The girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa. Well, let's see the next thing. She sat on a stool, gravely watched him until woke and stretched and asked the time, then looked at her. So you see, what did the girl do when she came to the drawing room? When mother was reading and the father was sleeping on the sofa, on the couch over there. She didn't have the courage, she didn't have that much of strength to ask her mother or the father to be with her, to spend time with her. She simply used to sit on the stool, gravely watched him, and she kept watching the parents, waiting that maybe after the mother has finished reading, maybe when father has finished sleeping, he would look at her and try to ask her how she was, give her some time because it's a Sunday, isn't it? Play with her, spend some quality time with her. So the child Kezia only used to sit on the stool, gravely watching at her parents and waiting for a turn to get attention. Now, that is something wrong, isn't it? Well, until he woke up. But then what happened when father used to wake up, stretch himself? Isn't it? When you wake up from sleep, you happen to stretch yourself, just trying to relax yourself, and ask the time. Then looked at her. And what did father used to ask? What's the time now? I have woken up after a long time, so what's the time? Well, don't stare so, Kezia. You look like a little brown owl. Now the girl was waiting for so long to get attention from the parents, from father, from mother. And what is the father doing over here in this story? As we're just reading over here. Don't stare so, Kezia. You look like a little brown owl. The father is using such disturbing words, talking to her own daughter over here, that don't stare at me like this. The girl was waiting for a chance to talk to her own father, to get some attention, to play with him. What is Kezia's father doing? He is just telling her some disturbing words. Say, you're a brown owl, teasing her. That you're a brown owl because you're staring at me like a brown owl. Well, that was a wrong behavior. One day, when she was indoors with a cold, her grandmother told her that father's birthday was next week and suggested she would make him a pin cushion for a gift out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk. You see? Further, one day when she had cold, when she was down with cold, her grandmother told her that father's birthday was arriving. Father's birthday was coming up. An event was coming up in the house. It was father's birthday to be celebrated in the house. So what was suggested, what was told to her, that she should make him a pin cushion. Grandmother suggested this, that make a pin cushion for your father. He will be happy. Give him some gift like this. So on the suggestion given, she decided to make a pin cushion out of the material that was a beautiful piece of yellow silk. We came across a few new words over here. Well, the next stanza, laboriously. Well, we have a new word, laboriously. You can see over here, with a lot of effort or difficulty, isn't it? When you put a lot of hard work, effort, we say, I worked in a laborious manner. Laboriously, I have been working day in and day out. So, a new word for you to understand, laboriously, burnt out the word labor or laborious. Well, so laboriously, with a double cotton, the little girl stitched 3 sides. So with a lot of hard work, putting in a lot of hard work, she stitched the cushion, the cover she had stitched on 3 sides, isn't it? When you're stitching the cover to make a cushion, you stitch it from 3 sides, but one side you need to keep open because you got to put in some filling inside it, some fiber, some cotton, so that it get fluffy, isn't it? When you make a soft toy or something, a cushion, you need to fill it up. So she stitched it from 3 sides, but what to fill it with? That was a question. She had a question in mind. What should I put inside this? What is to be put inside? So, this is what she did. That was the question coming into her mind. The grandmother was out in the garden and wandered into mother's bedroom to look for scraps. So, she thought maybe she could find something to fill inside, some scrap, some unwanted thing so that she could put inside it. Well, on the table, she discovered a great many sheets of fine paper, gathered them tore them into tiny pieces and stuffed her case, then sewed up the fourth side. So what did this girl do? When she was trying to find something to stuff inside it, she happened to put her hands on some papers that were lying on the table when she wandered from one room to another, one place to another. So without any knowing what the papers were about, simply she tore the papers and put it inside and stuffed it in her case, and then sewed it up on the fourth side. That night there was a hue and cry in the house. So hue and cry, we have got the meaning angry protest. Someone who becomes very angry and you cry and you agitate, hue and cry. Well, H is silent over here. We say hue and cry. H and E both are silent. Hue and cry. So a new set of words you got to understand. Phrase over here. That night there was a hue and cry in the house. Father was very, very angry. Father's great speech for the Port Authority had been lost. So what had happened? A speech that father had written was missing. It was not to be found anywhere inside the house. It was not known by the time. It was Kezia who had done that. But the speech was missing. Those papers on which the father had written the speech were not to be found. Well, rooms were searched, servants questioned. Finally, mother came into Kezia's room. Kezia, I suppose you didn't see some papers on a table in our room. See the question mother is asking. I suppose that you didn't find. Well, to this, oh yes, she said, I tore them up for my surprise. What? Screamed mother. Come straight down to the dining room this instant. This is what mother said. On coming to know that she had torn those papers that they were been searching for so long now, and for which a hue and cry had taken in the house. Well, realizing this, mother asked her to come down to the dining room instantly, in an instant. So she was asked to come down instantly into the room over there, to be questioned, to be presented to the father, probably, isn't it? Question mark, isn't it? Let's keep this a bit of a suspense for today's lecture. In the upcoming lecture, we'll try to find out what happens next in the story by reading and understanding the other passages in the story. Till then, you got to write your homework. As you see over here, the words hue and cry, the word scraps, the words wandered into, laboriously. You have the other words that you can see in the story over here. As I scroll it down, on the brink of suicide, another phrase over here, wretched, then given it up. Then you have the next word over here that we came across, slipped down, and you have a figure to be feared. So all these words and phrases that we came across today, you will be writing as a part of homework and submitting as a PDF. So I hope you enjoyed the story till now, understood and learned and understood about the relationship bond between children and parents, isn't it? Well, on this note, I say goodbye to you. See you soon in the upcoming lecture. Till then, take care. Have a nice day and see you soon.